on this episode, you are going to learn how to save and invest for a better financial future as a Gen Z. 5 money rules that every Gen Z in Africa must know and must understand. How do we ensure that when we get old, we will not struggle? Because we understand how money works. We understand the rules about money and therefore how to utilize it. Hi, my name is Emmanuel Tumi, and I want to welcome you to Next Gen Pulse, the channel that focuses on developing young people's leadership potentials. Today, I'm talking about 5 money rules for Gen Zs. 5 money rules for Gen Zs. And I'm addressing Gen Zs of Africa. We all know that Africa is classified to be one of the richest continents on planet Earth. And yet, at the same time, it's one of the continents with the poorest people on the planet. So why is it that you have a continent that is so resourced, and yet most of the people are also poor? And one of the critical things that you come to appreciate is that it's not about the resources, but how we utilize the resources. And that is why I'm focusing on the 5 money rules that every Gen Z in Africa must know and must understand. So on this episode, you are going to learn how to save and invest for a better financial future as a Gen Z. Now, not only that, I'm also going to show you why most people struggle financially when they are old. The third thing you're going to learn from this episode is that you're also going to learn the secrets of the rich when it comes to wealth creation. And finally, I'm also going to show you how to take your first step in saving and investing for a sound, secure future financially. So these are the 4 key things that you're going to learn. For many people, they say that no, we don't need to learn these things because we are born to be poor, and therefore we should. No, don't have that mindset. Don't have that mindset. Everybody can change his or her situation. Human life is not like an animal. Birds fly in a certain direction. But human beings are such that you have been given the potential to erase a whole chapter of your life, literally, by turning it around for another direction. But listen, before I zoom into the details, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to it and share the link with as many people, particularly those who fall in the category of Gen Zs and the Alpha generation, so that together we can build the people that we want it to be. So let me start by asking one question. Why are most people poor in Africa? Or why do most people remain poor in Africa? This is a very profound question, and it's a question that I believe on the minds of many people. And I have come to realize that, and many research has come to conclude this, attest to this, that many people are poor in Africa because of certain erroneous impression we have about money and wealth creation. In other words, there are some myths that people have developed about wealth creation and about money. One of it is that wealth creation or riches is by chance and not by choice. In other words, if I'm not born to be rich, there's no way I can be rich. Those who are rich were born into riches. That is the mindset that people have. That is the belief that some of the people in Africa have. That once you are born into poverty, you remain poor for the rest of your life. Listen to me, that is a fallacy. That is not true. There are many people in Africa, all over the world, that were born into more than poverty, what we call abject poverty. But because of the principles they learned about how to create wealth, the principles they learned about money and the rules, how money works, they turn their life around. I know several people in that category. The other myth, the other erroneous impression that people have about why people are poor In other words, the other erroneous impression why many people remain poor is that they believe that a wealthy background is necessary to become wealthy. In other words, you need to be born into money before you can make money. You need to be born into riches before you can create. You can be rich. You need to be born into a wealthy family before you can become a wealthy man or woman. That's also not true. So you can throw away that mindset. The third reason why many people remain poor in Africa is that they say that financial success begins at the age of 40. That's not true. If you really want to create wealth, you don't wait till 40. The earlier you begin, the better. And I'm going to prove to you that. There are so many people. Now, just look at this simple analogy. Imagine when a woman takes seed, and just at the conception, when the pregnancy, he conceives, the very first month that she conceived, if that family begins to save just $10 or even $5 for that seed in the womb of the mother every month, and the family does it consistently till that child is 18 years old. Just imagine, using the principle of compound interest, just imagine how much money that seed in the womb of the mother will receive when that seed grows to become 18. That is what we are talking about here. The idea that you have to wait till 40 before you start thinking about wealth creation, before you start thinking about creating, riches, is wrong. It's a very, very bad, mindset to have. The other reason why many people remain poor is because they say that you become wealthy in a day, not daily. In other words, you have to wait for a lotto chance, a lottery. You have to wait for a lottery. Or somebody dies and leaves you a big inheritance. Or maybe, as Africans would do, you go to church and pray and you receive a prophecy that somebody is going to dash you $1 million just overnight. For many people, that's the mindset they have. Listen to me, that is a wrong impression about riches and wealth creation. So if you really need to understand why many people remain poor, these are some of the reasons. Some of them are also poor because they don't have financial literacy. They've never bothered to understand how money works. Listen, you cannot pray for money. God did not give us tables, for example. He gave us tree and put the table in the tree. So no matter how you pray, God will never come and put a table right in front of your hall. To go look for a tree by working, by searching, by being creative, by being innovative, so that you can bring up the table out of the tree. That is how God works. So, going into the subject of 5 money rules that every Gen Z must have, let me lay the foundation here by saying that life is in phases. Okay? If you have read my book, this book here, Unraveling the Secrets to Wealth Creation, this book here, Unraveling the Secrets to Wealth Creation, Why the Rich Get Richer and the Poor Poorer. And the link, you can find the link right there in the description. Please go to the link and get a copy of this book. Why the Rich Get Richer and the Poor Poorer. I've told a lot of the rules in this book. But listen, life is in 3 phases. The preparatory stage, what I call the growth stage, the growth stage is from age 0 to 25. Then from 26 all the way to the age of 60 is what we call the working life. That is from adulthood to maturity. You finish university, you finish your tertiary education, you start working all the way through till when you become 60 and you go on retirement. Then you move from 60 till thy kingdom come, or till when God calls you. That's what we call the retirement age or the old age. So these are the 3 phases of life. The growth stage, which we call the preparatory stage, the working life stage, which is a combination of the adulthood and maturity stage, and then the retirement stage. Listen, you come to appreciate that the quality of your retirement stage, your retirement age or stage, is a function of how knowledgeable you are about money and wealth creation. So the subject I'm teaching today is about how do we ensure that when we get old, we will not struggle, because we understand how money works. We understand the rules about money and therefore how to utilize it. So bear that in mind, that whether you like it or not, until you die prematurely, you would definitely get your 60th and above age. And when you get there, the quality of life that you are going to live is going to be a function of what you did with money based on your understanding of how money works during the growth stage and your working life period. So stay with me as we move on. So the question is, what are the money rules that we are talking about here? Like I said, why do the rich get richer and the poor poorer? Please get this book. Get this book. There's another book I wrote several years back. What I wish I knew before the age of 20. This particular book. What I wish I knew before the age of 20. Please get these two books. What I wish I knew before the age of 20. And then why the rich get richer and the poor poorer. Get these two books. And I'm guaranteeing you that once you get these two books and you understand the 5 rules of money, you will say bye-bye to poverty. You may have started late, but you don't have to die and leave this planet Earth broke. And I'm going to show. Listen, people have applied these rules. Some may have lost almost everything. I know people who lost everything prior to their retirement. But because they understood the rules about money, they may not become what they wanted to be financially, but they are not going to die in penury. Why? Because they understand how money works. So what are the rules? 5 of them, and I'm going to show you. Okay? The first one is this. If you really want to know how money works, observe the lifestyle of both the rich and the poor. That's the first rule. Listen, every situation in life has a classroom. The question is, are you willing to be a student in that classroom? So what I'm trying to ask you to do is that open your eyes and observe the patterns of life or the lifestyle of both the people who you consider as rich people or wealthy people and those that you consider are poor. And you see that each of these categories of people have certain characteristics that they live by. And what are some of them? Because if you're going to know how money works, it's important for you to know the lifestyle of those who are either using the rules or who are not using the rules. And one of the things you observe is this. Number one, every rich person who understands how money works, they stay rich because they act poor. Whilst the poor who don't know how the rules of money work, they stay poor. Why? Because they act rich. Listen, there's a scripture in the Bible in John chapter 10. Jesus Christ said that gather the fragments, gather the leftovers after he had fed the multitude with the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. The leftovers, he said, gather them and let nothing be lost. The rich understand why Jesus made that statement. The poor will walk over the fragments because what has a penny got to do with somebody who is broke and want to become rich? The rich man knows that a penny today plus a penny tomorrow plus a penny tomorrow plus a penny the next day, when you add all these pennies, is no longer a penny. But the rich know how to gather these pennies, make something out of it. For the poor, they will trample over these pennies. They will disregard this penny because they are waiting for a miracle tomorrow. Listen to me. If you observe the rich, they always act poor. And as a result, they always remain rich. Whereas the poor will live where he cannot afford, drive what he cannot afford, wear what he cannot afford, because they want to look rich. So the poor stay poor all the time because they are acting rich. That will not take you far. So that is a rule that you must understand. The rich save, but the poor do not. That's what I'm saying. Observe the lifestyle of both the rich and the poor in your society, in your community, in your church, in wherever you find them. And you appreciate the fact that the rich is always saving, the poor is not. The rich begin small, but the poor will wait for a bounty season. These are lifestyles. The rich live with the future in mind. The poor live as if there is no tomorrow. So you will never understand these things until you know why the rich behave the way they behave. That is why I'm urging you, when you get this book, you understand why the rich remains rich and the poor remains poor. One of the reasons the rich remains rich and the poor remains poor is simply because the rich is always saving even with their pennies, whereas the poor either ignores, disregards pennies and live with the little that he has as if he's already rich, trying to play society's game, to impress people. So that's the first rule. Because you see, as I mentioned to you, every situation in life is a classroom. Question: are you ready to become a student in that classroom and learn the lessons that can help you to become what you want to become financially? So that's the first rule that you need to understand. Okay? Now, in other words, the rich understand the money curve. Observe the lifestyle of the rich and the poor. You see that there's a difference in their lifestyles. When you observe the patterns of the rich, you realize that the rich understand the money curve. Now, if you look on your screen, you will come to appreciate that this thing I'm showing you here says the money curve. The red line, as you are seeing, signifies spending, and the black line signifies earnings or income. Now, if you look at it carefully, look at the red line. This red line is above the black. Now, the rich man, every rich person knows that the moment this red line goes above the black line, it means you are living above your means. So the rich understand how money works by understanding how this curve operates. So if you really, really want to become rich, observe how the rich is able to understand this money curve and make sure that the red line does not go above the black line. Because if you are not able to understand how money works, the money curve, you would always be thinking that by living good all the time, by trying to please other people, you don't know that your expenditure is always going above your income. At the moment you are not able to control this and keep your income above your expenditure, it means you lack an understanding of the money curve, what we call financial literacy. Look at this second diagram. Now, in this diagram, you see that there is a big gap, a red line, between the expenditure and the income. In other words, you earn money, but you're always poor. Why? Because the gap between your expenditure and your income is so huge and is preoccupied by what we call expenses. Now, if you are leading your life this way, it means that you are being led by money. So we call it money leads. Listen to me. The rich understand how money works. So the rich will never allow this money we are talking about here to lead them. Do you know there are some people who don't mind to go to the bank to borrow money to get married? Some will go to the bank and borrow money just to have celebrate breakfast, their birthdays. No rich person will ever do that, because rich people do not allow money to lead them. Instead, they come to the third curve. They rather lead money. Look at the third curve, and you see that the black line is below the green line and the black line. Why? In this case, every rich person leads the money. Their lifestyle determines how they spend money. They don't allow money to determine how they live their life. Rich people don't allow money to determine how they live their life. It's only poor people who allow money to determine how they live their lives. In other words, the poor man's life is led by money. The rich man leads money. So rich people do not allow money to tell them how to live their lives. It is only poor people who allow money to determine how they live their life. So increase a poor man's salary, for example, by say 20%. The guy cannot sit down until that increment he has received. He must buy something to show that, hey, Charlie, I've got some income. That is why today I have gone to sit in the poshest restaurant, and then they'll tell themselves, man will die, so let me also enjoy small. Let me also enjoy small. Rich people don't do that. Rich people do not allow money to lead their life. Please listen very carefully. If you want to be rich, as a Gen Z, when you are in your 50s, when you're in your 40s, when you are in your retirement, observe how rich people live their life. That's the first rule you must learn. I've told you, every situation in your life is a classroom. Are you ready to learn the lessons that particular situation want to teach you? That rule, observe how rich people and poor people live there. If you can master that rule, I can guarantee you, you're on your way to becoming rich. Second point, second rule, Learn to live by the 10, 30, 60 money rule. The formula is 10, 30, 60 money rule that every Gen Z must apply. Again, I'll refer you to this book, Why the Rich Get Richer and the Poor Poor. Please get this book. Look at the link in the description and go to that channel and get a soft copy, the PDF version of this book. And please make it next to your Bible. And you understand why many people remain poor for the rest of their life. The 10, 30, 60 money rule is a formula that you must master. What do I mean by this? Now, what the rich do every day in their life is that they give or they share 10% of whatever income they receive. Some will say they give it out as tithe when they go to church. Some will give it to a family that is in need. Some will even sponsor some people and say, every month I'll give you 10% of my income. So whatever it is, 10% of the income that all rich people receive, they share it with other people. That is why you have the Rockefeller Foundation, you have the Ford Foundations, and what have you. The accumulation of the 10% that they have invested over the time is what they are giving back to society now. And as a Gen Z, listen to me. If you really want to make yourself happy, first make other people happy by giving them 10% of whatever income you receive. The more you make people happy, the better your future is. Then, what is the 30 for? Then you save 30% of every income that you receive. 30%, not 40, not 20, 30%. Remember, you have given 10%, you have given it to other people. You have shared it either by tithe or given it to some needy people or some needy family or sponsoring somebody or whatever it is. 10% of your money must go to other people. Then you save 30%, which I will show you later on. You then accumulate that 30% in your savings over a period. Then you can use that money to invest into long-term investment. So if you add the 10 to the 30, you have already taken 40% of your income. Then you are left with 60%. That 60% is what you must live by. Listen to me. If at your current level, your expenditure, daily expenditure, monthly expenditure is more than 60% of your income, take it from me, you are living above your means. Money is leading you. You are not leading money. Money is leading you. You are not leading money. If you really want to become rich, live within 60% of your income. Give 10% off to other people and then save 30%. As a Gen Z, some, because of, depending on their age, maybe they are late in life, can decide to save 40%. Some can even say, we'll live within 50% and save 40% and then give 10% out. But whatever it is as a Gen Z, when you are beginning, my advice to you is that give 10% off, save 30%, and then live within 60% of your income. Don't be in a hurry, listen to me, to look rich. I'm going to repeat that statement. Don't be in a hurry to look rich because it's not going to help you. Okay? It's not going to take you anywhere. The third point, the third rule, money rule that you must learn as a Gen Z is that don't spend more than you have. Don't. Remember, I've told you whatever money you get, whether $100, 100 cedis, 100 kwacha, 100 shillings, 100,000 shillings, whatever it is, 10% of that money, give it out to people. Then you save 30% of that money, the remainder. Then you live within 60%. Listen to me. If you go beyond the 60%, you are spending what you don't have. You are spending what you... This idea of, I want to look good. Your friend goes to buy sneakers, what they call Adidas, latest in town, iPhone. Your phone, I want the latest iPhone. You already have an iPhone, you say, I want the latest one. Then you go and sell it and add more money to go and buy the latest iPhone. Say this, do you really need it? Don't spend more than you have. That's the third money rule that you have. Listen to me. The greatest limitation to your ability to create wealth is not how much you earn, but rather how much you spend what you earn without thinking. The greatest limitation to your ability to create wealth as a Gen Z is not how much you are receiving. Rather, it is about how you spend what you already have without thinking about your tomorrow. Listen, several years ago, I started a club in Ghana called Flick, where I was encouraging young people to invest at least one CD every month from their pocket money. So that when they finish school, they finish university, that money would have been accumulated with interest so they can have it as a starting base. Those who listened to that advice and did it, today they have some money. Those who didn't listen to that advice, only God knows. Please, money is a tool to be used to bring additional monies. Every money has a cousin, has an auntie, has a brother, has a sister. If the money realizes that you know how to handle him, that money will go and bring his cousin, his auntie, his brother, all the siblings to come and live with you. Why? Because you know that you would always spend money with rationality, your thinking. So listen to me. The third rule that I've just shared with you, you must understand it so carefully so that you know that you don't go beyond what you have. I know people who, as soon as somebody promises them, oh, next month I'll send you this, they go and borrow money from their friends and say, I'm expecting money from this person. He will bring it to me at the end of the month. So please, don't you ever spend what you don't have. Classify all your purchases, all your expenditure into three categories. Number one, three categories. Necessities. Necessities are things that are essential for your living. Number two, investments. Things that will generate long-term returns for you. And then the third one is that desires. Desires are things that are not essential. You may want them, but they are not things that you need. Like the example I gave, you have a phone. This is an iPhone. This is an iPhone. I have an iPhone here. This is an iPhone. Then, I don't know, I think this is iPhone. I don't know whether it's 13 or whether, I don't know. Then you say that today, iPhone, we have iPhone 20 or iPhone 18. And therefore, you decide that I want an iPhone 18. Somebody gives you money, then you go and sell this one and then add that money that the person has given you to say, I want iPhone 10, I want iPhone 18 because it is a higher grade of what you already have. What are you going to use it for? Apart from calls, texting, even if it's photo, even if you are using your phone to do content, who told you that what you have cannot do the content? So that, for example, will fall into the category of desire. And I'm saying to you that every expenditure you make with the money that you have, ask yourself, does that expenditure fall under necessities? Does it fall under investments? Or they fall under desires? As long as they fall under desires, think before you spend. That is the third rule. And if you cannot live by this rule, believe you me, you're not going to go far. So what am I saying? Practice intelligent frugality. Every rich person that I know, and I'll urge you again, get this book, Why the Rich Get Richer and the Poor Poorer. Unraveling the Secrets to Wealth Creation. Get it. And then read this book, What I Wish I Knew Before the Age of 20. All the links are in the description. Get it. Everything that you want to buy, ask the question, where does it fall? Necessities, investments, or desires? So practice intelligent frugality. Avoid impulse purchases. You say, I'm going for a walk. Then you walk past a shop. Then you see a very nice dress and a very nice shirt, whatever, in that shop. You branch over there. And because you have your phone with you and you have mobile money on it, you don't need it. If there's never crossed your mind that you need something like that, then so this thing is nice, so I want to buy it. Please, have you thought about it? Is it intelligent? Avoid impulse purchases. Number three, if something doesn't have long-term value, avoid it. Just in case you feel confused, I want to recommend to you a rule that I've taught in this book. It's called the 24-hour rule. The 24-hour rule. Suspend the purchase of that particular item. Go home. sleep over it just for one day. And if after one day you still think that that thing is, you badly need that thing, because you gave yourself 24 hours to think through it. If you really believe that this is something that you need, then you may, I didn't say you will, you must, you may want to go and purchase it. Please listen. This life we live in is not by chance. It is governed by principles, processes, and procedures. And if you really want to break from one level to another, please understand that you are going to have to understand how the rules work. Like football, every football game has rules. Every profession has rules. Money making also has rules. And if you want to move from one level of finances to another level, you need to understand how the rules work. For example, I run an organization. I run a studio. We pay for electricity. We pay for, water and everything. If all I have is 1,000, and because I see a shoe, I want to buy a shoe, and then without thinking about the fact that in less than 2 weeks, I'm going to have to pay rent, I'm going to have to buy water, I'm going to have to pay for electricity, I use that money to go and buy the shoe. When the rent is due, how am I going to pay it? In that case, I've not spent my money intelligently. So whatever you want to do, understand the third rule. Don't spend all that you have. And the best way to do that is to categorize your expenses and the necessities, investments, and desires. And if you are the type of person who thinks that sometimes you can't resist purchases, practice the 24-hour rule. Let a day pass and then think about it before you make a final decision whether to buy it or not to buy it. The fourth rule, and I'm almost done. Flee from unnecessary debt. Run away from unnecessary debt. Listen to me very carefully. If you really want to become rich when you grow as a Gen Z, don't borrow to buy any of the following items I'm going to mention. Listen very carefully. Don't borrow to buy any of the following items I'm going to mention. Number one, never borrow money to buy food. Never. It doesn't matter how hungry you are. If you don't have a family that can help you to succeed, to get something to eat, or a friend, or whatever, never ever borrow money to buy food. In other words, don't eat on credit. I recall one day I wanted to buy bread. And the shop that I wanted to buy bread, which is not too far away from our office here, I wanted to pay with mobile money, but for some reason that day the network was, acting. So I couldn't access my mobile money account. The woman said, "Oh, but doctor, we know you are just next to us. Take the bread and then tomorrow you come and when you are passing, you bring the money." I said, "No, I don't want to eat on credit. It's never been part of me. It will never be part of me. Why must I go and buy food on credit? Why must I go and borrow money to buy something that as soon as I put in my mouth, within 2 hours, 3 hours, it comes out of behind me. And then I have to be burdened with how to pay it off." Please, rich people don't buy food on credit. Wealthy people spend within their means. It's like going to borrow money to go and do birthday celebration. Abba. Why would a human being born and created of the image of God decide that as for me, I will ignore all the rules and live my own life, and at the same time, I want to be rich? Please, every debt that does not bring a better returns, avoid it. Don't borrow to buy food. Number two, don't borrow to look good or accepted. In other words, if you're going to buy anything, be it shoe, clothing, watch, accessories, tiger nails, whatever, on credit, please avoid it. Avoid it. Don't. Number three, consumables like Now in Ghana, they have what you call buy fuel on credit. My brother, why would you go and buy fuel that as soon as you put in the car, you start consuming and you say, I'll pay for it tomorrow? Park the car, okay? Park the car at home and possibly jump on trotro or utatu or matatu as they have it in Kenya, or use boda. Look, I lived in Uganda for almost about 7 years, and believe you me, I never owned a car. Most of my commutations, most of my commutes that I to and fro, I either use Uber or sometimes I go by motorbike. If the camera can capture this car here, I fell off one of the motorbikes. I'm not saying that don't jump on motorbike because of that. Whether you like it or not, you always have there are risks in all these things. But I'm saying that please don't spend money on consumables when you don't have it. Because somebody can borrow you, you are putting yourself in debt. The Bible says that every borrower becomes a slave to the lender. Finally, don't borrow to buy gifts for other people. Oh, he's my good friend. It's his birthday. It's a birthday. If I don't send him something, if I don't send her something, it will seem as if I don't care. So let me go and buy this on credit. Please stop it. If the value of your relationship is based on material things, you have no relationship. It is transactional. You don't need it. So the fourth rule, which is so important, that has crippled many poor people in our jurisdiction, is that they live above their means. Please, every uninformed debt is slavery. Avoid it. Every uninformed debt, in other words, every debt that you incur, that ends up with you without any returns coming out as profit. Maybe you like borrowing money to do business, that you know that will bring you profit to be able to defray the debt eventually. That debt is slavery. Don't do it. Don't. Sorry, but I've heard that there are some women who even go to a salon and do their hairs on credit. Abba. Please don't do it. Don't. So finally, let me end with the fifth rule you can go and practice. The fifth rule that every rich person, every wealthy man or woman have practiced is that they cultivate an investment habit very early in life. From the beginning of this presentation, I told you that it's a lie for you to be told that you can only start creating wealth or making money after the age of 40. That's not true. If somebody starts investing one cedi at the age of 10 or 12 or 15, one cedi, and you start investing 10 cedis at the age of 40, I guarantee you, from age 10 all through to 40, and the person was doing only one cedi or $1 or one kwacha or 1,000 shillings, that person will be richer than you that is starting at 40 and starting with 10 cedi, 10 kwacha, $10, 10 cedi, whatever, every month. So start early. That is a secret of the wealthy and the rich people. So start early. I've always advised people, the moment you take seed, start investing for that fetus, that baby in your womb. Start saving for that child. That is to break the poverty cycle in that child's lifestyle, as far as a member of the family is concerned. So what do they do? Listen, gentlemen, they start investing into their future very early in life. So you must start right now. Start it right now. Have a long-term financial focus. Every rich person has a long-term financial focus, and they start early. Every financial decision must have a long-term perspective. That's how they spend their money. So rich people will start investing today silently, and nobody will know about it. And before you are aware, when that child is 30, they hand over his savings certificate or investment certificate to that child. You'll be amazed how much the child has. Sometimes in Ghana, in Africa, we do what we call naming ceremonies. You'll be surprised that for some parents, that money is the day they receive that money, that's when their soup becomes nicer. Don't use that money. It's for the child. Start investing with that money for that particular child. And by the time that child grows to become 18, that child has capital upon which he can build his life. That is how every rich person do. That's what they do. So plan for the retirement phase of your life. I told you there are 3 phases of life. The growth stage from age 0 to 25, the working life from 25 to 60, then the retirement age. And I've told you the quality of your retirement age will be determined by what you do from the growth stage and the working stage. If you don't want to have a bitter retirement stage, practice this principle that I've taught you. Let your wealth be hidden and expanded over time. So start early, save early, invest early, and then you plan your money exit routes. In other words, give every penny a clear purpose, assignment, and destination. Don't just get up and spend money. When I was growing up, when I was young, and I've said this in many of my books and many of my presentations, you can go on the YouTube and follow them. When I'm buying socks, I don't just buy any socks. If the color of the socks cannot match 3 of my trousers, that socks will never find itself in my wardrobe. Why? Because it is not just the money I'm using to buy the socks. The money has value. So if I'm getting an item in exchange of that money, I must ask myself, what value is this item bringing into my life to replace the value that is the money that is leaving my hands? So every penny you spend from today, give it a purpose. Determine the destination of that money and give it a purpose. Don't just spend. Spend your money intelligently. Why? Because that is what the rich do. It's a choice. It's a choice. Then, the other steps you must take, track your expenses. Before you sleep, there are 3 things you must do. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? What do I need to unlearn? And what do I need to relearn every day? Now, part of the things you do by either learning, unlearning, or relearning is how you track your expenses. How much did you spend today? Where did the expenditure go to? Which item did I spend on? Would I spend the same money? Would I do the same expenditure tomorrow if I had the money? If not, cancel it. A mistake repeated the next day is no longer a mistake. It's foolishness. Yes, I told you that. A mistake that occurred yesterday, if the same mistake is repeated today, is not a mistake, it's foolishness. So track your expenses. And any expense that you made yesterday that does not qualify to become an expense, cancel it. And don't repeat it the next time. Then number 3, no money should be without a predetermined destination. I've told you that. Every money that leaves your hand, if it does not have a predetermined destination, Jesus Christ said, let the people sit down. And when they sat down, you know what they did? They counted them before they broke the bread. It's called budgeting. Let every expenses, let every item you need to buy, let every need sit on paper and then program them. When do I need this? When can I afford it? Don't go and say, I need it and I need it now. No, there are some things I need. When we were setting up this studio, there were a lot of things that we needed, but we didn't have the means. What did we do? We got them one after the other. One after the other. I didn't have to go to borrow money and say, I'm going to borrow money. No, we don't do that. Any expenditure that does not bring returns to you, that expenditure is not worth expending. So, my friends, in conclusion, what do I want to tell you? You are the sole determinant of your financial future. You are the sole determinant of your financial future. You don't need to become great before you start. You need to start to become great. So, say yes to yourself, and life will say yes to you and give you fulfillment, success, and wealth. When it comes to money, it's not just about prayer. It has rules. So how much are you familiar with the rules? I'll give you 5 of them. Number 1, observe how the rich and the poor in your society behave. Observe and learn the behavior patterns that they engage in. Number 2, avoid debt. Avoid debt. And number 3, make sure that no money leaves your hand without a destination. Don't spend all the money you have. It's not going to help you. Okay? It's not going to help you. And if you can go through all these rules that I've shared with you, I guarantee you, by 10 years from now, you will know that indeed your financial position is not as you met it. Please, if you are not subscribed to this channel, please do so. And share your comments in the comments box. Let me know which country you are watching this program from. And by the way, we've heard that some of you, in an attempt to subscribe, you have already subscribed, but when you try to subscribe again, you unsubscribe mistakenly. Please check, and if you have unsubscribed mistakenly, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And please share the link with as many people as you can. Because why? We must all kick out poverty from our families and create wealth for the next generation. Once again, my name is Imadade to me, and I thank you for watching.